I'm just going to start by just telling you what I have here in the bowl. This is a mix of bittersweet or unsweetened chocolate, and I was supposed to have 8 ounces, but I didn't have enough. So what I did was I took semi-sweet chocolate and I added enough to make sure I had 8 ounces. What I'm now going to be doing is I'm going to be adding a half cup of heavy cream. And then I will also be adding just a pinch of salt. If you really want to know how much a pinch of salt is, it's about an eighth of a teaspoon. Now I'm going to be putting this into the microwave to melt for about a minute. Then I will stir it around with a spatula. It's about halfway. I want to just check on it and see if I need to stir it a little bit. And then I will add it back into the microwave so that it can continue melting. Yeah, it did start melting already. Okay, I'm going to put it back into the microwave. So I've taken it out of the microwave after a minute. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a stir and then see if I actually need to add it back in. Based on the recipe I'm using, it says just until it's all combined. I mean, it does look, there's a bit of resistance, but for the most part, it does seem quite melted. Okay, so it's completely melted. I actually put it in the microwave for like about another extra 15 seconds. I will transfer it into this dish. It doesn't necessarily have to be a glass dish. It could be any kind of baking dish that you have. And I will let this sit in the fridge for about 45 minutes until it's cooled down. See you then. The next thing I'm going to do is I am now going to form balls. It's supposed to be about a teaspoon. This recipe will make about 24 balls, truffles. So I will do that now. It's actually recommended to wear gloves with this as well. So I will scoop about 24 first, and then I will form it into balls. It's kind of hard. And the reason why you want to use gloves is because your hands are pretty warm and chocolate really melts quite quickly. So you would want to kind of offset the heat from your hands. And I'm using a bigger scoop than a teaspoon, but I just need something to scoop it out of my baking dish. So I might end up with all kinds of different shapes, but that's okay. So now I'm going to put on these gloves and I will start rolling them into balls after I completed rolling them, I will put them again in the fridge to firm up once more for about half an hour. Yes, definitely want to wear gloves when you're doing this. You don't want to have a ton of chocolate between your hand, your fingers, and or maybe you do, but I wouldn't want a whole bunch of chocolate in between my fingernails and everything. It's kind of interesting because some of the chocolate chips haven't melted, so I think it's going to be for a really interesting texture. You get some bits that are still intact, some that are not. And the first time I actually made some truffles were in a class called food. I don't really remember what it was called, but it was in college, and it was really great experience making them. Okay, so here is the ganache that's been formed into balls. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take cocoa powder. This is a quarter cup, and I will also add 1 tablespoon of powdered sugar or confectioner sugar. And then I will add it to this strainer. This is what is going to cover the truffle. Nice coating. I did try the ganache. It is on the not very sweet side. I'd say it's a bitter because it's unsweetened chocolate. So you will have to adjust the coating based on your preference. If you want it more sweet, then you may need to add more confectioner sugar. If you wanted to, you probably could get a sweetened chocolate in the beginning. So now what I'm going to do, I will now coat the chocolate and do this for the chocolate that I have. I tried to experiment with ground granola, but it just couldn't catch. So maybe next time I'll try to experiment with how I can make sure. So you want to make sure to also get rid of the excess powdered sugar by just shaking it through your fingers. I didn't do that with the first ball. I'll probably play around with half of them so that half will have that cocoa powder mix, and then the other half will just be regular confectioner sugar. So it's a nice balance between not too sweet and just a great amount of sweetness. And I will be back. Here are the cocoa and powdered sugar truffles.